whether that is God, whether that's Allah, Mary and Joseph. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you clicked on this video, it's probably because you are a nursing student or someone who is interested in the nursing field. So, my name is Chelsea. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am a registered nurse and have been a registered nurse for about 5 years now. So, I'm here to talk to you guys about my nursing journey as a nursing student all the way to being an emergency registered nurse. So, if you're interested in that type of video, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Also, if you are new here, make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to my channel to be a part of the future nurse family, and I hope to see you guys very soon in the upcoming videos. Alright, so to start off, I started nursing school in January of 2016 and graduated in May of 2018. So the program that I attended was a total of 2 years, minus the actual required prerequisites that I had to take prior to applying to the program. So it was an associate's degree program. Some of those prerequisites included anatomy and physiology, as well as patho-micro and some other other filler classes like English and maybe math if statistics was required, things of that nature. So when I started nursing school, I was 20 years old and I was still living at home with my parents, thank God, and I was also still working at the restaurant. I get numerous questions on if you should work full-time in nursing school, and personally, I'll have to say that that's more of your personal preference. I actually did work in nursing school and I found it very difficult to maintain part-time, even full-time hours while being in nursing school. Especially for your first semester, you're trying to kind of get a grasp on things, kind of get your study routine down, and things are just all over the place. And I personally, for my life and how I am as a student, I didn't think it was the best idea for me to be working full-time while still trying to manage this new life of being a nursing student. So to each their own. I also have seen the opposite, where some people work full-time, had kids, had a husband in nursing school, and were able to still make straight A's and things of that nature. So know yourself as a person and just kind of know what you can tolerate and what you may have to kind of dial back on. So life as a nursing student was definitely, to say the least, difficult. I would say that anything that can go wrong will go wrong a lot of times in nursing school. So there's 3 S's that I actually live by in nursing school, and that is something that I made up on my own, which is sacrifice, support system, and spirituality. Now, me personally, I believe in God, and without God, I would not have been able to make it to the end of nursing school like I did. Without my support system, my mom, my dad, my mentors, I would not have been able to make it through. Without the sacrifice that I had to continuously sacrifice in nursing school, I would not have made it through. Nursing school, it has a way of turning you inside out, chewing you up, and spitting you out. And if you make it through it, you're gonna be so grateful. Well, at least I was. I was absolutely grateful that I made it through by the skin on my neck. By the grace of God, I made it through. So definitely remember those 3 S's. Your support system is huge. You're going to have to sacrifice a ton in nursing school. And lastly, your spirituality, whether that is God, whether that's Allah, Mary and Joseph, if you decide to go to a Himalayan salt spa, whatever your way of connecting to a divine power or a higher power is, definitely get in tune with that through nursing school, because you're going to need it. Trust me, you're going to need it. So I've actually talked about this a little bit in some of my other videos that I've posted on YouTube. I actually went to a community college first before I went to a university. So the school that I attended in Detroit, Michigan was Macomb Community College at first, and then I transferred to Wayne County Community College for their program, because their program actually accepted students twice a year versus Macomb Community College had a wait list, which I was placed on, and they only accepted students 1 time a year. So I wanted to get in a lot faster and and get done a lot quicker. So I decided to transfer to Wayne County Community College District. So with the accelerated nursing program, typically your classes are going to be about 7.5 weeks as opposed to a 15-week course that most universities typically have. So yes, pharmacology is definitely sped up. It was put into 7.5 weeks as opposed to 15 weeks, like a university. So if you thought that going to a university was going to be tough and you decide to do an accelerated program, baby, you are in for a ride. Because it is tough being in an accelerated, let alone a nursing student program. Like, being a nursing student is already tough enough, but to go to an accelerated program, you're biting off a lot. You're biting off a lot. So bear with me, y'all. I made it through, so if I can make it through, I know you can too. So as many of you may know who watch my channel, you may know that I actually did fail my first semester of nursing school. I also failed my NCLEX. So there are 2 videos that I did post about that. I'll definitely link that down below for you guys if you are interested in that. But it's about me failing nursing school my first semester, as well as failing the NCLEX when I took it at the end of graduating. Definitely go check those out if you want more in-depth information about that. So when I did fail my first semester of nursing school, at the school that I went to, there was a 75% requirement, like a C or better, that you had to get. It didn't matter if you had a 74.5, you had to have a 75 unless your teacher was just super nice and rounded up. But still, having a 74.5 is not, 74.4. You couldn't round up, you have to stay where you are. So you would have to retake that class, basically. You had to have a 75 or higher. So, and they were very strict about that. So at the school that I went to, you were allowed to have 2 failures, but in those 2 failures, if you failed again after the second failure, you would be kicked out of the nursing program. Thank God I didn't have to go through that. But baby, I was skating on very thin ice because I failed my first semester of nursing school and had to remediate the class. Now, remediation is basically the process of you going through what your mistakes were in that class. You might have to do some like critical thinking questions, like practice questions. You may have to do an essay, maybe have some letters of recommendation as to why you should stay in the program, cutting down your hours, things like that. It was like a whole process that I had to go through from March 2016 to when I failed the classes to June of 2016. So it's like a 2-month kind of remediation, portion. And while everybody else that I had started the program with actually moved on, the ones that didn't feel like I did. So the first semester that I failed had nursing foundations and physical assessment. So I failed both of those classes. So I no longer had any more tries or any more failures, or I had more tries, but I had no more failures that I could, have in nursing school. So it was very tough to get through, for sure. Failing in your first semester, highly don't recommend. Failing at all, don't recommend. But if you fail, please try not to make it your first semester so that you are like gritting your teeth every class that you have in order to make it through. But again, I made it through. Okay, so after failing those first 2 classes, as I mentioned already, I had no more failures that I could have. So I had to go through pharmacology, I had to go through Med-Surg 2, which was a very tough class. It was cardiac, and the teacher was an amazing, very educational, very smart and witty teacher, but he did fail a lot of people. Like, a lot of people were terrified to take his class because a lot of people just failed that class, So it definitely had a energy surrounded by it, because whenever people came up to taking that class, they were like, oh crap, I really have to be on my stuff because this class is tough, By the way, sorry about the noise in the background. That's I'm filming in the a common area, so you might hear a little bit of noise here and there, but that's just the common area noise. So anyway, back to the video. So after remediation in June 2016, I had the summer off because the program didn't offer nursing classes during the summer. So I jumped into a whole new cohort in fall of 2016. So in fall of 2016, I finally am able to retake nursing foundations that I failed and retake physical assessment. So I retook both of those classes, passed them both, thank God, and then I went into Med-Surg 1. So Med-Surg 1 was fine, but pharmacology, baby, that was a whole nother beast. And then I got to Med-Surg 2, which was a whole nother beast. So yeah, pretty much throughout my nursing program and being a nursing student, I was kind of skating on thin ice, like I mentioned earlier. I had a exit HESI that I had to take for my leadership class at the very end of my program, which most programs you typically have to take it now. And I think I had to get like a 64% on it to pass the class, and I got a 65.4. So like it was tough, y'all. It was super tough. I'm actually getting emotional just thinking about it, because just looking back on it, yeah, that was 5 years ago, but that was like my life. Like I eat, breathe, and sweat. Everything was all about nursing. Like I wanted to be a nurse so bad, and like looking back on it, I do not regret it at all. There are some people out there that are like trying to discourage you guys from going to nursing school. Listen to me. Listen, I'm gonna get up close for y'all. If you want to go to school to become a nurse, do it. You definitely want to figure out why you want to become a nurse. I would say don't go into it for the money. You know, go into it because you actually have a true passion for taking care of people. But if you want to go into nursing school, don't let anybody discourage you from doing it, because a lot of times they're trying to portray their issues and their mishaps and their mistakes on you. So don't even listen to what people say when they're like, oh, don't be a nurse, or I regret being a nurse, or I hate nursing, this and that. They're miserable, baby. They're miserable. I can say that I don't like bedside nursing, absolutely, because bedside nursing is not how it used to be before COVID. After COVID, baby, I don't even want to get on that topic, okay? These family members and these patients, I don't know if that vaccine got to people's heads. I got the vaccine, it didn't get to my head. But I don't know. I just think that the whole world of nursing is totally different now, post-COVID. I think people are a lot more bold and, you know, things of that nature. So I'm not going to go off on a tangent with that. I'm just saying that to say that don't let people discourage you from going for what you want to go for. Like, don't let people discourage you from your dreams and going into nursing as a whole. So, because we need y'all. We really need y'all, because I'm trying to retire. Anyway, back to the video, y'all. I'm sorry. I go off on a tangent sometimes, and that's why I have my laptop right here, because I need to stay focused. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so back on topic, I definitely struggled through nursing school. I had to quit my restaurant job because I felt like I was being surrounded by people who really weren't encouraging for the success that I wanted to, you know, gain in life, which is typical, you know. I think a lot of people, and not to like, you know, downplay people who work at the restaurant, but I think that sometimes you just get complacent in a mindset, and when you see other people that are thinking higher than you are, or thinking more like broad than you are, it makes you insecure. So I think I was around a lot of people who were insecure about the place that they are in life, instead of uplifting someone else that wants more for their lives. So, and I think it's hard to uplift somebody when you are constantly insecure about where you are in life and how you have shortcomings. You know, for some people it's hard. For me, I wouldn't say that it's hard, but I think that for some people, they can't see outside of themselves to be happy for somebody else. So yeah, I ended up having to quit the restaurant. Another thing was that my boss that I worked for, I told him that I had failed nursing school, like I failed my first semester, and he was like, great, like when can you go ahead and pick up more hours? And I think that stuck with me. I think that what people say to you, especially in a very dark time, or a time that you're not very proud of yourself, or you feel like a failure, when people say to you, it really does stick with you. And I think that was my motivation to push even harder, because I'm like, no, I can't pick up more hours. I'm quitting. I'm done. I'm gonna focus on my attributes and my goals in life, because I'm not coming back to this, okay? I'm definitely not coming back to this. So I think like 2 months after that, I actually ended up quitting the job. But also I was in like an unhealthy relationship. I was in a relationship that I probably was not supposed to be in. I think having a great support system really overshadows that negativity. I think that the people who are down for you, and the people who are supporting you, and the people who are there to dry your tears when you're crying, and like, you know, there for you when your car breaks down and you get a flat tire on the road on your way to clinical. I mean, I'm telling you, everything that can go wrong went wrong in nursing school, and my support system always always had my back. They were always there for me, regardless if they knew what I was going through or not. Having a mentor that is a nurse is highly crucial if you can find one. If you can't find one, hopefully I am your, mentor virtually, because I love to do that type of stuff. But yeah, I think that just the place that I was in, I knew that I had to remove myself from certain areas because I didn't feel like that God was going to place me in the place I'm supposed to be in until I remove a lot of that negativity and, the things that were holding me down in order for me to get a seat at the table. So I definitely had to get rid of a lot of people along the way, and it felt very alone, but it's led me to where I am now. So, which is greatness and success and happiness. So yeah. So originally I started my career as a emergency registered nurse. During that time I was actually working at a trauma level 2 hospital, and I was 22 years old. Actually I was 23. I had just turned 23 and started working like that September or October. I did the entire 3 months as a new grad in their program and quickly learned about nurse bullying, which I talked about that as well. But nurse bullying as a new grad, nurse bullying in general is so whack, and it really just amplifies that person's insecurities as a nurse, and their insecurities with the fact that you're a young nurse or whatever the case may be. Whatever their issue is, it's their issue. So nurse bullying, absolutely boo, tomato, wrong. I don't stand for that at all. So I quickly learned that, and I left that ER to go to cardiac step down, which I absolutely loved my experience there. I gained so many great preceptors, so many great teachers, so many great friends, to the point that I actually recommended my best friend to work on the same unit that I was working on, and she still works on that unit today. So yeah. So this is also why I say it's very important to be very picky about where you decide to work as a new grad. I think that your preceptor, your co-workers, your night shift crew, whatever shift you decide to work on, I think is super important because it really shapes you as a new grad nurse. It shapes your confidence. It shapes what you will and will not, stand for, in a sense. You advocating for yourself, your safety, the safety of your patients, advocating for your patients. I think that a lot of that is encompassed in your preceptor and, the people who you are centered around as far as your coworkers. Builds that confidence in you as a new nurse. So be very picky about where you decide to work. If it is not going good for you, if you don't have a good feeling when you go to work, if you feel anxiety when you go to work, if you feel like people don't have your back, your management doesn't have your back, you deserve to work in an environment that is going to support you. And if you don't feel supported, then leave. Because guess what? You got another interview tomorrow for another job that could be your breakthrough, So definitely don't hesitate to choose yourself and your career. All right, so fast forward to 2020. I moved to Atlanta in August of 2020, and I think that really what motivated me to move was just that I haven't ever lived outside of Michigan, but also that I just really wanted to get into aesthetics. And I knew that being in Georgia and Atlanta, celebrity kind of world, that a lot of people are into cosmetics and beauty industry. So I knew about aesthetics way back in 2020 before I moved here, but I knew that I could probably excel more in the aesthetics realm here in Atlanta because it really wasn't something that was talked about in Detroit. Not like that. That's what led me to Atlanta. But I also did move a little bit because I felt like during COVID, I felt like such a burden to a lot of people. I think a lot of people were scared of nurses. A lot of people were hesitant to be around us because we work with COVID patients, and people were just acting so much on fear. People were constantly watching the news, which amplified things. It wasn't, it was bad, but it wasn't like that bad. You know what I'm saying? I felt like that the news kind of portrayed things a lot more intense for people who weren't actually living it. Some days were bad, some days weren't so bad, but I don't know. I think it was just me being around people who didn't really know what I was going through, but also I was fearful of getting my parents sick. I was fearful of being a burden to them and them being afraid to be around me, just things like that. So I just knew that it was time to kind of spread my wings. I had already graduated nursing school, had been a nurse for 2 years and never lived outside of Michigan. So I just felt like it was my time to go ahead and take a big move. So that's what I did. So after moving to Georgia, as you guys know, after watching my previous videos, is that I became an aesthetic nurse. I did Botox, fillers, I did IV hydration, but I felt like during that experience of working at the med spa for like a year, I felt like I was doing a lot more wellness and not enough like aesthetics. So I feel like that one day I probably will dive back into aesthetics, but I definitely want to kind of focus more on the cosmetic aesthetics part versus the wellness part. I think personally, I'm badass at doing IVs. I can say that about myself, okay? You know, I am the truth when it comes to doing IVs. I now do ultrasound IVs. Well, I've been doing those for like a year or two now. But yeah, that's my skill for sure. But I think that the art of doing fillers, the art of doing Botox, it's what intrigues me. It's definitely interesting to me. Versus popping an IV in somebody is very redundant. It gets to the point of, it's just kind of this, it's like an assembly line. You know, when you do it so much in the ER, it's nothing. You know, it's nothing. Versus doing Botox and doing fillers, I feel like that it's more of an art. It's a je ne sais quoi, you know? It's like a certain skill that I definitely enjoy. So I might dive back into aesthetics, we'll see. But right now where I'm at personally, like being a PRN nurse, like working in the ER and, you know, being able to pick my own schedule, being able to work whenever I want to, being able to have that happiness and freedom that I would like. I mean, obviously I don't really like working bedside. I think right now seeing the positive in it is really what's helping me kind of continue to get through. But also I know that I trust in God, and I trust that God has a different plan for me. But right now that plan is to be right where I'm at right now. And you know, we'll see what the next year brings. I don't know, we'll see. But I'm just taking things day by day, and hopefully I get back into aesthetics soon. But I'm not pressed about it. But I don't know, we'll see. I guess you guys will just have to keep watching and you'll see and you'll find out. Alright, so for anyone who is interested in the nursing field, I would definitely recommend that you at least think about why you want to become a nurse. Because if you're in it for the money, I'm just gonna let y'all in on a little secret. It's gonna be a good little portion of the experience that you're going to have in order to see the money that you think you're going to make starting out. Because you're not gonna make much starting out. I think that they start new grad nurses out at like 28 an hour base pay, and then with all the differentials that they want to add on, you might get to like maybe 35, 40, depending on the hospital that you work at. The money is really not moneying. It's the math ain't math, and it's really not there. But I would definitely recommend that you think about why you want to become a nurse and think long and hard about it. I'm definitely not discouraging you to not go to nursing school, but I definitely want you to take time to think about it because it is serious. You have people's lives in your hands. You have to make very quick decisions. You have to be able to see when things are going downhill to save a person's life. So it's definitely not something that you should go into because you think you're going to make a lot of money, because at the end of the day, this is somebody's parent, this is somebody's child, this is somebody's, you know, uncle, brother, sister. Like, if it was your family member, would you want somebody going into it just for the money and just kind of like playing around and like, you know, not really paying attention like they should, or whatever the case may be? No, you wouldn't. You would want somebody who's serious about their career and serious about taking care of people. So think about your why. Think about your why you want to become a nurse before you actually dive into nursing school. So personally for me, I do not regret going to nursing school. I do not regret becoming a nurse. I even took it so far as to possibly going back to school for my nurse practitioner, but I've decided not to because the things that I want in my career, I have found that right now I can have that as a registered nurse. I don't exactly have to go back to school, accumulate all these student loans in order to be happy in my career. So for now, nurse practitioner is on hold. I know I talked about it in my probably couple videos ago, but for now it is on hold temporarily. Maybe 5 years from now, if I decide I want to go back to school, I can. But right now, for the things that I want for my career and the things that I see for myself with content creating and you know, just working in the hospital as an ER nurse, I am content. I'm happy and I'm content right now. So I'm just gonna wait to see what, you know, what road God leads me down in the near future. So yeah. So that is the end of this video, you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you have all subscribed to become a part of the Future Nurse family. And I really hope to see you guys in some of my next coming videos. Make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up. I definitely would need that so that I can kind of continue to make more content that you guys will enjoy. So thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you nurse babes in the next one. Bye guys.